Hey guys, what if I told you right now, hey, you should go do a live on social media this week, or show your face on Instagram stories, or make a video for your website about your service? Does that scare you a little bit, maybe? Video can be intimidating and really tug at our confidence levels, but it doesn't have to. And my hope for you is that through this episode, you can learn to show up confidently on video, because video is an awesome way to connect and market your business well, reach more people, and make a bigger impact. It just takes some learning and some practice. And that's where my guest today comes in. And I really love this interview. I'm excited for you guys to get to tune into our conversation. So today I have Patricia Kelikani on the show, and Patricia is an Emmy award-winning filmmaker and video coach. She lives with her husband and 2 boys in Southern California, and what she does in her business is that she shows entrepreneurs how to make more money in their business using video, and that's what she's going to do for you guys on today's episode. We're getting like a crash course in how to show up confidently on video, what tools to use, even down to like what to wear, how to do lighting, really specific and tactical stuff, so that by the end of this episode, you're going to be like, okay, I'm ready to get out my phone and start filming myself and start connecting with my audience in this unique way. So you guys are going to love Patricia as much as I do. Also, her website is built using MShop, which you'll hear us talk about that. Be sure to stay till the very end, where she's going to give some thoughts on picking a website and all of that good stuff. So yeah, let's get right to it. Here is my conversation with Patricia Kelikani. Hey guys, it's Elizabeth McCravey, and you're listening to the Breakthrough Brand Podcast. Each week, I'll bring you workshop-style trainings that teach you how to stand out online, design success from the inside out, and create a breakthrough business. It's time to turn viewers into raving fans and design the business and life of your dreams. I'm so excited you're here. Okay, you guys, I'm here with Patricia. I'm so excited for this conversation. Welcome to the show.
Thanks. It's so good to be here.
Yes. Okay. So you guys, Patricia is such an expert on all things video. And I know that's like, from my perspective, and probably many people listening, like a scary topic of like, oh, I don't know if I like want to show up that way in my business, but we're going to help you break that down, that barrier down, to feel more confident on video. And I've looked over the notes for this. Patricia has so many like awesome tips she's going to be sharing. So before we dive into it though, I'd love for you to share who you are, what you do, who you serve, and like tell everyone a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So I'm a filmmaker and video marketer, and basically I do 3 different things. So one is I create custom videos for businesses to help them increase their revenue. And then 2, I'm the showrunner and producer of a national TV show. It's a documentary series called Life on the Line. And then the 3rd, which is the reason why I'm here on the show, is I help entrepreneurs make their own quality videos to increase their impact and income.
I love how you broke that down so well too. Very clear. It's so cool. And you guys, isn't that cool that she is literally a showrunner for that show? That's so incredible. Yeah. And I want to tell too how we know each other, because I think that's really fun. So Patricia, one, is a template buyer, in which you have 2 of them, right?
Yeah, I do. I have one of the sales page.
Yes, you have the sales.
Too.
Yes, the
sales funnels,
and then the Sophie template. Right? Yes, and you guys, her site is so fun. So you'll have to click over to that in the show notes while we're talking and take a peek at it.
Thanks to you.
Oh my gosh, you're sweet. You really do. I told you. I said I'd say this in our interview, but I was telling Patricia beforehand that like, whenever people are like, what cool stuff can I do with video and show it like directly on my site, I send people to yours as an example of like cool video stuff. And so also when you feel more confident on video, you can go integrate video into your template, like we're going to talk about. But you have that. And then also we were a year apart on the same panel at the Business Boutique Conference with Christy Wright.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember. So I think you were in 2018, right?
Yes.
So I remember watching you up there and listening to you and just thinking like, oh man, it's so cool. And it was so funny though, because I think, because it's like a 3-day conference. So like, I think the day before you were actually on stage, we met down like on the floor and I was like, you look so familiar. Have we met before? And it was so fun. And you probably don't remember this, but it was so funny because you were like, well, maybe you saw my picture in the conference like workbook. And I was like, oh, yeah, I think that's where I saw you.
I feel like I do remember meeting you from after seeing you on it though. And people like, I think I met her the year before at this. That's so cool though. And I got to see, I wasn't at Business Boutique the year you were on the panel, but I got to see a clip of it and you did awesome. But it's so cool just like, and I'm going to link to your Instagram post in the show notes too, where you talked about that, but just how like we as women can inspire each other instead of it being like, you could be like, oh, why is she up there but not me? But instead you're like, I'm going to go do that too. And I think that's so incredible.
Thanks. Yeah, you're an inspiration for sure.
You are to me as well. So, okay. So now that we have all that fun stuff out of the way, you know how awesome Patricia is. Let's dive into this first, like kind of a clarifying question around this topic. So we're talking about video, right, for our businesses. And so those of you listening might be like, okay, well, like what all are we talking about when we say video? So let's kind of say like where all can we use video in our business? I know there's so many different ways.
Yeah, there's so many different ways. So maybe let's start out kind of like in order, like if you're just starting out. So one of my favorite places is Instagram stories. And I love that because it doesn't have to be like this, like you can do behind the scenes stuff. It can be really laid back. It doesn't have to look like your A game of professionalism. It does not have to be there. It's really just showing up authentically. And I think behind the scenes stuff is awesome. And because of that, it's so easy, I think, to start out there, right? Like there's a lot more forgiveness, I guess you could say, because the expectations for professional looking video just aren't there. And then when you feel more comfortable, like I really think how-to videos are awesome. So basically giving your ideal client a quick win on video, like a video tutorial based on what your niche is, your industry, your expertise is. And then from there, you can publish that like on your blog. You can publish that on IGTV as an Instagram post, right? If it's a minute or less. And YouTube obviously is awesome too, because that's the number 2 search engine owned by Google, like most of us know. And so that's like an awesome place. And then you can also put videos on your website, like what we kind of talked about, like how I have videos on my website, like a homepage video where you greet your client. It's almost like thinking if let's say you're an owner of a restaurant, right? Like it's kind of like when people walk into your restaurant, like you greet them face to face, right? Or the hostess does. And that's kind of how I see a homepage video is someone just came through your doors, so to speak. And then there you are greeting them and telling them how you can help them with their problem, like solve their problem. And then from there, you can have like a video sales letter, which is a video on your sales page, testimonial videos. So the list goes on. And I just love it. And you can repurpose these too, which is one of my favorite things. And we'll get into that later.
Yeah. Okay. You just laid out so many great options. And I love and that's something too for everyone listening to definitely go watch is your homepage video. And that's something I want to do and got inspired by after seeing you do that. But yeah, like starting with Instagram stories is like a great place. And so many people listening, because I know you guys tell me, don't feel confident enough showing up there and feel like it has to be perfect or that you don't have the right thing to say. And another one, all this makes me think of that I personally want to do more of is like in your DMs showing up in a video as a response to people, because that's such a personal touch. And also what you said, like able to be really laid back. So I love all those. Yeah. Okay. So now we know what we're talking about with all the different ways we can do video. And the problem is confidence a lot of the time of like feeling like we aren't good on camera, which I can certainly relate to that feeling. So can you kind of share some ways that we can feel better on camera? And let's start with, I know you have some tips about like what to wear. So maybe let's start there.
Okay. So what to wear? Okay. So number 1 is find out what color season you are.
Mm.
So, are you familiar with the color seasons?
No, but I'm so curious about that when I saw you wrote that. So yes, tell us what that means.
Yeah, so everyone is either a winter,
Okay.
spring, summer, or fall when it comes to what colors look best on them. And it's all based on like the color of your hair, the complexion of your skin, the color of your eyes.
Oh.
And you can totally Google this. There are tests online that you can take like just in a couple of minutes. You can go to colormebeautiful.com. They
Okay.
have a test on their website. And so once you find out what season you are, like I'm a winter,
Okay.
and I have to say too, this color that I'm wearing right here, it's actually the Pantone color of the year.
Cool.
And it pretty much looks good on like whatever color season you are. So that's kind of a little tip. But from there, you want to look into that color palette. So they're going to show you what palette of colors look best on you. And it's different shades. So like not everyone will look great wearing navy, right? But then they'll have like a shade that's similar to it that does look better on you. So from that palette of colors, you want to take the jeweled colors and the bright colors and wear those on video. And that just looks so great. You're going to stand out. You're going to pop.
Awesome.
Like people will just be more captivated by you, so to speak.
Okay, that's
And
incredible.
and jeweled colors are like navy, emerald green,
Okay.
burgundy, and then the brighter color palettes are like fuchsia, teal, those types of colors. So basically, the further you can stay away from like neutral colors, black, gray, stuff like that, the better you'll pop out on video.
Okay. And that makes a lot of sense. Even looking at myself right now, I'm not popping in this color, right? Is that kind of what you mean of like wearing black right
Yeah.
now?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I mean, you look great,
Oh,
but yeah,
thanks.
like, and I love what you're wearing, but yeah, so like, it just helps you stand out. So like when we're in our videos, we're
Yeah.
basically like the product, right?
Yeah.
And so we want the product to stand out. And
Yeah.
so
I love that. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Okay. So so we're going to wear our color season. We're going to avoid the neutral tones for video. What other stuff should we do clothing wise?
yeah, so solid colors are just easier on the eye. I find that when you wear solid colors, people can look at your eyes rather than be distracted by like a lot of graphics on your shirts. I think what you're wearing is totally fine, like the lacy
Yeah.
overlay, like that's like totally fine. But I mean, like if you have a lot of print graphics, like
Mhm.
on your tops, that can be distracting. And then another thing is jewelry. So like a lot of people out there say, oh, just keep it simple. Like, don't wear a lot or just wear something small. But I'm like, hey, if you're going to wear jewelry, like wear statement pieces.
Yeah.
Like your earrings are perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah, like I took mine off. I had statement earrings too, but I don't know. I didn't want to get distracted because I tend to move around a lot.
Yeah. And then
And
when
then
you
it
have
would.
these in, it's harder. Well, you guys were on video with each other. So that's also, we're seeing each other as we're talking.
Yeah, sorry.
We'll share a video of this part maybe so people can see what we're talking about. But yes. Okay. So statement pieces.
Yeah. And like the thing with pendant necklaces is like they tend to always be in a crooked position. So like for video, like I find you always have to try to straighten that pendant necklace, right?
Yeah.
So I just stay away from them. But yeah, if there's like a pendant necklace that's like meaningful to you, then you just have to make sure it's like straight and not like over on your left hand side or something.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. Okay. Anything else with clothing, or do you want to move on to other confidence tips?
Okay, so one other tip is
Yeah.
wear fitted clothing, and that always, because you know how like people say video makes you look bigger than you are. So if you wear fitted clothing, that always helps. And the nice thing too is you can totally use like a clothespin or something. Like if you have a favorite top that's just not very fitted, I've done this before where I've liked the color of the top, but it was just super baggy on me, and so I just took a clothespin and pinned it behind me and kind of just made the top look more fitted, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And that's like, that tip is so true for photos too.
Mm-hmm.
I actually, funny thing, did a photo shoot like a month ago, and I love all the pictures, but I wore a dress in one of them that was a shift dress. So it's literally formless. And I probably won't share any of those pictures because like, it's a cute dress, but then I'm like, it was really unflattering in the way I was standing and sitting with it because it's like so shapeless. And so I'm like, that probably wasn't the best thing for the photo shoot. But oh yeah, go
I've
ahead.
done that too. And like on photo shoots, and like literally my dad was like, "Are you pregnant?"
Oh
And
my.
I actually wasn't. I did get pregnant with my second a few months later,
That's
but it
funny.
was hilarious. Okay.
That makes sense with the being more flattering that way. Yeah, okay, so those are great tips. That really helps us figure out the wardrobe piece. And I know, so with increasing confidence, you have a really cool technique around this. You want to walk us through that?
Yeah, so I call it my cruise technique so that you can cruise your way on camera.
Okay.
And basically, it's an acronym, and the C stands for cheerleader. So, what's helpful is just imagining that camera lens is your best friend, but your best friend who's your best cheerleader friend,
Mm.
like the one who's just always encouraging you, the one who just like, you can kind of hear their voice in your head, like just giving you positive vibes. And then R is for rehearse. So just practice. Like you don't have to you can push record and not show to anyone.
Yeah.
And I think it's just really helpful in helping us get comfortable with something new, like being on video. And then U is for unmask. It's really just showing up as your authentic self, because that's really what is going to set you apart from everyone else, is when your personality can shine on video. And what I love to imagine is, like, when I record a video, I imagine that only like my best friends that I hang out with and go out to dinner with and laugh like a ton with, they're the only ones who are actually going to see this video. In reality, like, it's public, right? They're not the only ones. But that's how, like, I just feel comfortable showing my goofy, silly, cheesy side on video without feeling afraid of being judged, right? Because I just think, oh, it's just my best friends. And then I is for ignite. So just showing how passionate you are about how you are going to solve your ideal client's problems, right?
Mm.
And then S, so two more, S is stylize. So many people I hear out there are like, just, it doesn't matter what you look like. Just show up on video as yourself. You don't have to like even put makeup on and whatever. And that's totally, totally fine. But if you don't feel comfortable with that, then just like, yes, put on more makeup than usual. Curl your hair if that gives you like that extra like umph. Wear new socks, like whatever it is. Just like do what makes you feel confident and like just ready to shine on video. And the last one is E for embrace. So like, especially when we're first starting out with videos or like podcasts, right? Like, no one likes to hear the sound of their voice. Like, it sounds so different. Like, I hate the sound of my voice. It's like, it's super high pitched. I have to literally focus on like keeping it at a lower tone. And like, but the thing is like, God created us the way that he wants us to be, like with purpose and like just in his perfectionism and like, we need to just embrace the sound of our voice. We need to embrace the way we look on video. And once we start doing that, and the more we see ourselves on video, the more we're just going to think nothing of the sound of our voice or what we look like on video.
Oh, okay. Those were so great. I love that technique there. And yeah, two things you said that stuck out to me. One was when you said the freedom to do makeup and like get ourselves glammed up for it. I totally agree with that. And that can feel like a little bit like, wait, but are you caring too much if you do that? But I'm the same way when I think about filming something like important for my business, or even like, filming an IGTV or something, or like this podcast interview. I'm like, I'd like to like feel like I look nice for it. And that helps you be more confident. And I love what you said about embracing the sound of our own voice, because I love your voice, so I want to say that too. I think it's really soothing, and I've thought that before as well. But I know what you mean about disliking the sound of our own voice, because I struggle with feeling like I'm too Southern, and I'm like, I need to like tone back the Southern. But then other people have said they like my voice. So it's like, that's just, I think
Yeah.
everyone has something probably with their own voice, unless they're like Morgan Freeman and they're like, I'm
I know,
perfect
right?
in my voice. So I love those.
I know we're definitely our own worst critics. And I
Yeah.
think realizing that is like the first step in just overcoming that, I guess, block,
Yeah.
that doesn't give us the confidence to be on video. So once we realize that, and once we realize that like other people think we're totally fine and great,
Yeah.
then yeah.
Yeah. People aren't analyzing that stuff as much as we are, for sure. Okay, I love that. And so you guys try to remember that the cruise technique when you're going to do a video, we're going to have notes in the show notes for this too. If you're like, I need to be reminded of what those are, or you can just rewind to this part and re-listen. But okay, that's incredible. Okay, let's talk about using our phone for the video. So that's something cool, you guys, that Patricia talks about, is that like you don't have to get like some fancy camera and all of this crazy stuff to do video. So you can do it with your phone. And you've even shared about like doing like a really important video with your phone, like besides just Instagram stories. So what tips do you have for talking about like our first recording session with a phone or with something else?
So first, I would say when it comes to any video, whether you're using your phone or a fancy camera, is basically going through what I call my MAP method. And so MAP stands for messaging, artistry, and promotion. And then once you have those three elements, and I'll walk you through with those three, but once you have those three, you'll have a lucrative video, which is a video that increases your income and impact. And I'm all about that, right? Like video isn't like, it doesn't just take like 2 minutes unless you do like a live, but it takes longer to make a video than writing a blog post, for example. But the impact and everything is just so important. Okay, so number one, so messaging. And this is where you just write down your goals for the video. So what call to action do you want to have, for example, right? Because I say a video without a CTA is like meeting your soulmate, but not giving him your phone number. So we want to make sure that the call to action lines up with our goal, right? So if it's to increase your email list, then that would be a call to action to like your freebie, for example. Another question I like to answer under this is what feeling do you want your viewer to feel, like your ideal client? And this kind of goes along with the feeling of your brand, right? So like if your brand is like fun and spunky, like you want to show up as fun and spunky. If you are more like of an elegant, more formal brand, then that's how you would show up, right? You would want to match the feeling of your brand. Okay, so those are just a couple things. And then artistry is next, right? So this is where we get into the filming and the editing. So for filming, and let's talk about the phone, right? I'll start with this. So you want to figure out what location you want to film at, and you want to declutter your background. And I know like a common dilemma that a lot of us have is we feel like we need this Instagrammable house or office to actually film in there, or we need to like buy like a background from Amazon or something and put that up. But we really don't, because only a little bit is going to show of your actual room. So I like to pick out a corner. Pick a corner in a room, or like for you, like a wall, and just make sure that it's like decluttered and it looks great. And another thing to think about when it comes to your background is I love to kind of infuse like visuals that are related to your brand or your business. For example, like in the background of some of my videos, I'll have like a camera or like an Emmy award or something that's related to what my expertise is in.
Yeah.
So that's like location and background. And then second is stabilization. So we want to make sure that our phone is like on, I love a tripod and a phone adapter on that tripod. And my favorite tripod starting out is like literally the Amazon Basics.
I have that tripod.
Do you?
Yes,
yeah, it's
I
so
love
super
it.
popular. Yeah, and it's great. It's like $20 on Amazon. And then you just buy a phone adapter, which I have the Vastar smartphone tripod adapter, and that's like $8. And so you just put that on top of your tripod and put your phone in that adapter. And yeah, it works out great. That way you don't have to be like, oh, like I guess I could put my phone on a pile of books and then hold it
Yeah.
up. Like it's just too complicated to do that.
I've done that early on of like putting the phone on a stack of books with a book behind it. And a problem with that is if the phone is what's picking up your audio, the audio is under the book, or right, the phone's on top of the book, so it's blocking the audio. So yeah, it's worth it to invest in what you're talking about as a big tripod, or even like I have two. I have the tripod you're talking about, and then I have a little baby iPhone one that's just for the phone already. That's also really, really affordable. So I think both are a good option.
Nice. Yeah. Is it like a desktop one
Yeah, you can
or?
set it like on your like desk, yeah. Or you
Oh,
could hold
cool.
it's kind of similar to a selfie stick, but like has a tripod. I don't use it that
Nice.
often though, because it's really like you only need one of the two. So yeah.
Cool.
And we'll link to
Nice.
all this stuff you guys in the show notes too if you're like, I want to buy some of this stuff on Amazon.
And then let's see here. Okay, then lighting obviously is another important element. So we want to make sure that we look great. And lighting, oh my goodness, lighting has the magical power, if you know how to do it, to literally make your complexion look like you're younger, like you have a clear, clean complexion, which I personally love. Like the bags under your eyes don't really show up. Like I love it. So lighting is key. And if you don't have lights, like when you're just starting out, just sit in front of a window in indirect sunlight. And that makes a major difference. And usually you have to be pretty close. Just test it out with your phone. But when it comes to lighting, you can obviously use like a ring light, which is super popular, or softboxes, which is what I love. I think it's a filmmaking background that I have. But the main thing to remember, though, when you buy a light is that the bigger the light, so like, for example, the bigger the ring light, let's say it's 18 inches, that's going to be a lot more flattering on your face compared to like one of those 4-inch ring lights that you can stick on your phone. So
Oh,
go for a bigger light.
that
Um,
makes a lot of sense.
yeah, and it goes the same with a window. Like the bigger your window, the
Mhm.
more flattering the light is going to be on your face compared to a small window.
Yeah, and a question with that, like if we have a ring light, do we turn off our overhead lighting? Like what should happen there?
Yeah, okay, so it really has to do with color temperature.
Mm.
So if for example, if you have like a window that's letting in sunlight, then you'll want the daylight color temperature of the ring light on. Like a lot of them, you can choose like an
Yeah.
orangish hue or a whitish colored light, and it matches like basically the light that's outdoors, like sunlight. And then the orangish hue is called tungsten. And
Oh.
so that's the main thing. And if you're, for example, like in my office here, the light on my ceiling is actually tungsten. So it has an orange hue to it.
Mm. Yeah.
So when I film my videos, I turn it off and just use daylight because I have a window
Okay.
and stuff like that.
That's so helpful. I didn't realize that with the color settings because I have mine. My lighting's horrible in here right now because it is. You guys, hopefully you can't hear this when we edit it, but it is storming so bad right now where I am. So it's like pitch black outside. So I have my ring light. I have an overhead light, but I have my ring light on the more orangest setting. So I'm like, I need to experiment with that because I feel like what you're saying makes a lot of sense. I've maybe making it brighter in a different way. So that's super helpful.
Yeah, and like you can always test it and see what looks good and stuff. But that's kind of like the textbook rule when it comes to lighting.
Okay, awesome. Let's talk about audio. What should we do
Yes.
there?
Okay, so audio, okay. If you don't have a microphone, obviously just make sure that you're in a quiet place and that you're close enough to your phone, right? So that you
Mhm.
sound good. But I highly recommend getting an external microphone and starting out. I love the Boya BYM1. It's like $20 on Amazon.
Okay.
And if you have a newer iPhone that doesn't have the regular audio jack input, then you'll just need to make sure and buy an adapter. That's like $8 on Amazon. Just Google like Apple Lightning adapter or something like that, and it'll pop up for the audio. But yeah, and it's so great. So basically, this microphone that I just talked about, it has a long cord. So you don't even have to be super close to your phone if you don't want to be. I literally stash it like in the pouch that it comes in my purse. And I've done like videos at like loud airports, and you can still hear me crystal clear. Like, it works so great. So I highly recommend that. And it's a lavalier, so you just pin the microphone on your top when you use it. Yeah.
Oh, that's great for video. I need a mic like that where it's, not, because, for podcasting right now, we're both using like stand up type mics. Yeah. Okay. That's all. So it's actually attached to the phone then while you're using it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
So you plug it into your phone, and then you just pin the other end on your top, the microphone. And then, and it sounds great. I mean, for $20. Yeah. And then, of course, if you can always buy, more expensive ones and all that stuff. But when you're starting out, that's what I love.
Yeah. Okay. That's incredible. Yeah. So we have, you guys, we're talking right now through the MAP method. So we have messaging, artistry, which is what we just talked through of the location and background, stabilization, lighting, and audio. And now what is the P in MAP? Interrupting this episode with a suggestion for the small business owners listening. Ever wonder what you should do for healthcare when you and your spouse are both self-employed, so there's no work-provided health insurance to participate in? Well, when my husband Adam joined me in the entrepreneurial job space over 4 years ago, we joined Christian Healthcare Ministries instead of getting traditional health insurance. And it was the best decision for us, especially in these years of growing and raising a family while also running multiple businesses. CHM is a health cost-sharing ministry and is a faith-based alternative to health insurance. We did tons of research before choosing CHM, and if you know me and Adam, you know we are all about doing the math when making big or small financial decisions. And even though it's not insurance, CHM shares 100% of eligible medical bills, which is more than the typical 70 or 80% of medical bills paid for by insurance companies. All sharing is determined by the CHM guidelines, which you can check out before and after joining. And for the mamas and mamas to be listening, you truly cannot find a better healthcare option for maternity care. I had a vaginal delivery and a C-section and birth center care and hospital care between my 2 pregnancies and births, and it was all 100% shared for. And outside of birth, we've had our share of emergency room visits and procedures as a family, and those costs were all shared by members at Christian Healthcare Ministries, leaving us only paying our monthly contribution. CHM is less expensive month to month than insurance, and because there's no network, you can choose your care with whichever providers best fit your family. I seriously just cannot recommend Christian Healthcare Ministries enough. You've got to check them out. Go to elizabethmccravy.com/CHM for more information. Also putting that link in the show notes, elizabethmccravy.com/CHM. Now back to the episode.
So P stands for promotion. So this is where you get your ideal client to watch your video. Because one of the big things is like, it doesn't matter if you have a ton of views, right? The key thing you want is just to get your ideal customers to watch your video, because they're the ones who are more likely to buy from you. And so what you want to do is optimize the video, kind of like SEO and websites. You want to do the same thing with the video. And one of my favorite places, obviously, to put your video is on YouTube. So a couple of reasons. One is when you optimize your video and put it on YouTube, YouTube is a search engine, right? It's number 2 search engine. So your video will pop up when people search something. Number 2, though, is that it also tells YouTube what your video is about. And so they know then, okay, we'll show this video in the suggested feed of this person who's interested in this type of topic. So you'll show it more in suggested videos in the feeds, in the YouTube homepage, like that type of a thing, which is, from what I've heard, it's 70% of YouTube videos are seen that way. But obviously too, right? Like if your video is on your blog, SEO is great. And another thing, though, when it comes to promotion, is to, of course, share your video and repurpose it. So, share your video obviously to your email list, to your social media outlets, like share it, share it, share it, because right there is your ideal customers. And then repurpose it is what I love too, because like it takes time to make a video, and you have this awesome video with a call to action, right? That will go towards your business goal, right? Whether it's to increase your email list or whatever. And so you can repurpose it. For example, one of my favorite things is pinning your homepage video at the top of your Facebook business page, or putting your website banner video and putting that on your Facebook business page as the banner video as well. So that's just a couple examples. And if you film like B-roll, so B-roll is like supplemental video footage. For example, let's say you make handmade soaps or something, then you would get video footage of your soaps, for example, and you can use that same footage in a ton of other videos. That's what I do with my videos. I reuse that B-roll a lot.
I seriously love B-roll footage so much too. And that's something like when I'm doing client sites, I usually will ask them like, hey, from that event, did someone make a video? And then I will take the B-roll pieces and do it as like background canvas videos on Show It. And it looks so cool. So I agree. And that's like such a great, video's more engaging than like a static photo too when we talk about that on a website. So yes, I'm all in for B-roll.
Awesome. Yeah, so that's the MAP method in short.
Yeah, that's awesome. And another thing too, I just thought of with this last one about promotion is like when we're thinking about, when this is something that's been helpful for me recently, but like, what are you making a video about? Your video can be repurposed content as well. So like I've done that a couple of times. I need to do it more. This is going to inspire me too, but where I've taken like one tip I've shared on a podcast episode and filmed myself for an IGTV with like a 3 or 4 minute video sharing that one tip. So it's like, it doesn't have to be like you're reinventing the wheel 1,000 times to make this content. It can be like you wrote a blog post and you're going to share something and then do what you're saying of like a call to action in the end. But that's a great way to like come up with what you were saying of like how-to content even.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you could even turn a snippet from your video into like a WAV file if you wanted to, or like, post like a 1 minute on Twitter or like an Instagram post. So yeah, it's just endless how you can repurpose.
Yeah.
It's so great.
And there's so many ways that you can add video in. Like we were talking about this beforehand, but like for podcast interviews, it's like, you guys, it's so much easier to just be like, I'm going to interview someone and we're just going to do it like in our PJs with like no video. But I've started doing interviews on video lately, and we're making these videos, like taking little clips from it of like the whole interview and making graphics that then we can share to promote it. And I think it's so fun seeing like, okay, here's what the people looked like when they were having that conversation. So that's just another thing too. If you're a podcaster, like maybe try doing some of your interviews on video and actually like using the video.
Yeah, I know. I love how you're doing that. I think it's so great. And I think another element too is like, as a podcast guest anyway, is the connection is so much like stronger when you can actually see the person you're talking with. And I think it just kind of makes for a better podcast too.
Yeah, I've felt that as well. It feels more like hanging out versus it's like more formal. And that's the thing too, though. It's so funny that you even say that, because when I first started doing interviews, I still feel nervous with interviews, by the way, everyone listening. They're more intimidating to me than solo episodes. But when I first started doing them, the idea of being on video specifically, I'm like, oh, that's too much. Like me doing the interview at all is like as much as I can do. So that's something too that like you grow more comfortable with as you get more used to whatever the new thing is. So I love that.
You're a great interviewer.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm
like,
so learning. Oh my gosh.
I'm
I'm learning. I'm trying to like pay attention actually to like podcast I love where I think the person's a great interviewer and being like, what can I learn from like how they ask that question? And I'm learning. I'm a work in progress, but thank you. Okay. So I love the MAP method. That's really helpful. And we're going to link to like all those links in the show notes. But I have 2 more questions on the video topic. So one question, kind of thinking about equipment. I know we touched on this some, but like if we're going to use an extra tool besides the phone, can you kind of like recap again what those tools should be, just for like a reference
Mm-hmm.
to everyone, or if they're going to not use their phone but use something else to film with?
Yeah. Okay. So a tripod, and then make sure you also buy a phone adapter if you're using your phone so that you can attach your phone to the tripod. Number two is a light,
Mm-hmm.
whether that is a ring light or a softbox kit. And then just the main thing to remember is the bigger the light, the more flattering you're going to look. Like it's just more flattering on your face. And then three is a external microphone, and you can get one like for $20 starting out. So those are the three main pieces.
Okay, perfect. And we're going to link to those examples as well. And then like, okay, the actual last question, and I know we touched on this in the beginning, but just as like a reminder to someone who's like, okay, I get it. I'm going to like try doing some video today. You guys try it today on the day you listen to this episode. Where would you suggest they start of like, hey, I'm going to do this, go all in? What should be the first place?
As far as like where to post that first video,
Yeah, like
or
where to post it, what to make it for, all of that.
okay, so I can start with Insta stories if you're just starting out and want to get more comfortable, like to make more videos. Like if you could have your Insta story be a quick win for your ideal customer. So give like a quick tip in that Insta story. And then of course, like, encourage the DMs as well, just to boost that algorithm. So then ask a question like, hey, if you'd like, for example, the call to action to an Insta story could be, hey, if you'd like, the more in-depth full on training on this, you can grab my freebie. Just DM me if you're interested and I can give you the link or something like that. That's one example. Or it could even just be a conversational DM too. Like that could be the call to action, just a simple conversation just to kind of have the Instagram algorithm in your favor and you show up in their feed more and stuff.
Okay.
So,
I love
and then
that.
also too, like Insta stories, they have great filters. So for those who just don't like really aren't comfortable with the way like seeing themselves on video, like one of my favorite filters is called smooth skin. And so basically like when you click on like Insta stories, you can scroll through the filters that are already on your, I don't know, on Instagram or your phone, whatever. Scroll through till the end, and then you'll see like a magnifying glass, and then click on that, and then just type in like smooth skin or something like that,
Okay.
whatever you want, and then you'll see like all these different filters pop up, and then you can like use that as well.
Yeah, and another way too to find filters is like the person you see use it. If you click under their name, it'll say the filter, and you can click, you add this to your filters and save it. So follow Patricia, see her smooth skin filter, and then like save it. Seriously, I do that all the time though. Like I see a cool filter and I'm like, okay, I'm going to save that. But yes, the filter thing is real. That helps. And that's not like about being fake online. I don't love those that are like putting fake eyes and lips on you and things like that. So we're not talking about those. We're talking about the ones that are just going to help you feel more confident and kind of even help with like bad lighting. I feel like a lot of those do. So yeah, okay, that's awesome. So starting with
Mm-hmm.
Instagram stories, and then I even like outside of that, I mean, trying going live, I think is one that's like something that all business owners need to like try at some point. And your first time will probably be maybe better or worse than you thought, depending on where your expectations are, but you'll get better at it as you go.
Yeah, definitely. I think too, like the more you just are used to recording videos, even if they're not live, the easier the live video will be. Like you're just comfortable, more comfortable in general. And so yeah, but live videos are great. I mean, the social media algorithms will definitely favor you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's such a unique way to connect with your audience too. I want to get
Hmm.
better about doing lives. And that's something where they used to intimidate me so much, and now I can be more like whatever about it. But that also is like having done it a couple times, you start to be less afraid.
Yeah. And then one thing too that helps is just notifying, like, for example, your email list or
Yeah.
followers, like posting about it, like, hey, I'm going to be live, at such and such time. And then that way, like, you'll have people show up because they can kind of plan for it a little bit.
Yeah, that's so true. Because even if you had like a ton of followers, but aren't like telling people to come to it, they probably won't as much unless they just happen to be on there. Yeah, so like advertising it ahead of time. Okay, this was awesome. I love all these tips. So to close us out, let's do some rapid fire questions and then we'll talk about where everyone can find you. So you guys, I love doing these questions. So these are ways that like she's going to give us some advice, like kind of outside of even the photo stuff. Okay. So my favorite question I always ask people, what's a business book you'd recommend we all read?
I love the story brand, Building a Story Brand by
Yeah.
Donald Miller. I just think
Yes.
it's genius.
Yeah, that really is like a must read. That one's awesome. Okay, a tool, business software, something that you use and love that we should check out.
Okay, so I actually just came across this recently. It's an app called Mix Captions,
Oh,
and you can get it on your iPhone. I'm not sure if it's available on Android, but it's so great because it can add subtitles to your videos
oh,
like so quickly. And these are two pre-recorded videos, so videos that are
yeah.
like on your phone. But yeah, it's like easy. Like if you have to edit something, it's easy to edit. It all like automatically puts in the periods and stuff like that, like sentences.
Okay.
It can decipher the sentence breaks. And anyways, and then for like, and it's free. There's a free version, but if you want to upgrade, it's only $3.99. So $3.99 for a year.
Wow.
And
Okay.
so,
That's
yeah, and it's
awesome.
like so helpful because, like on Instagram and Facebook, a lot of people don't have the audio on,
Yeah.
right? So, like, it's just a great tool.
Okay, it's like you were reading my mind with that tip because I literally was like, is there a way I can automate doing that? Literally yesterday. So I'm going to check that out. That's amazing. Okay, another question. Do you have any like quick tip you can share for us about kind of managing motherhood, managing your business and like life outside of the business together?
Yeah. Okay. So, for me, what works personally, so I have two boys, they're ages 6 and 3. And what works for me really well is there are days like, for example, Mondays and Wednesdays are my professional work hat days. So they go to grandma's, my mom's
Nice.
house, and I get to focus on the business without like any interruptions, which I love. And then the other days are mommy days. And so, like, that way I can show up like full on, like, for them and with them. I try to, anyways. Of course, there are times when I do have to work and I'm like, okay, mommy needs a break or whatever, stuff like that. But yeah, that's what I love to do. I just like to block the time.
That's helpful. Yeah. And that's cool. I didn't realize your kids were that age. That's so cool. Okay, last question, and then we're going to talk about where to find you. So since you're a template buyer, you have your site live, all of that, and again, you guys, it's really really a fun site. What would you say to someone who's listening who's like thinking about getting a template? What's
Oh
your
my
thoughts there?
goodness. I love my online presence, like my website. It is so great. And I feel like I honestly feel so much more confident as an online business owner because I'm like proud of what my business looks like online now. Like before, I just was not happy with my website and was almost I think I was literally timid to even share it because it wasn't what I really wanted. But oh my goodness, after I bought one of your templates and then I like made it and it was so easy to like customize, I just feel so happy. And then, okay, this is awesome news too. So I also bought the sales funnel kit
Uh,
from you as well. Is that what it's called?
yeah.
Okay. So I bought this Sarah template, I think. And then I recently created the upsell page from that template, and I'm seeing an increase in buyers. So,
That's
like, from my organic opt-ins, it's the conversion rate for the upsell is like between 18 to 25%,
wow.
which is like, yeah, like I'm super happy about. And then
Yeah.
even for like my ads, that has increased as well too. So
That's awesome.
yeah, so it's working. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. That was, I guess I had to just feel like, let Patricia plug the templates at the end of this. Because because I knew you'd have something fun to say. That's awesome though about the conversion rates. I love that.
I'm like super excited about it. I mean, like literally I'm getting paid for my ads, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I'm spending less than what I'm actually making from my upsells.
Oh, that's good. And that's something worth exploring as a podcast episode of like the upsell concept. 'Cause I know that confuses some people, but that's a real thing you can do is like the offer after and make money on it. That's awesome.
And I have a video too on it. And so it's like, it's just, I love it.
Yeah.
I love our templates.
I love it. Well, thanks for making me look good with it. Seriously, and making yourself look good. It's awesome. Okay. So tell everyone where, and we're going to link to all of this in the show notes. So some of them I've already clicked over to, but where can people find you, connect with you? And let's talk to you about the freebie you have about video stuff.
Yeah. So you can get my free training video and guide. And that walks you through how to film yourself professionally on a phone. And it's just lucrativevideos.com/training. And then I have a YouTube channel, which is my name. So Patricia Kelikani is what my channel is called. And then on Instagram, it's my name too, Patricia Kelikani.
Awesome. Love it. Yes. And you guys got to get the training, got to check out our website. And the training really is awesome. And it lines up well with what we talked about today, because it's some of the same stuff sort of, but more detail, and with her showing you exactly how to do it visually, which is really cool. And video makes sense that we need that. So I love it. Thank you so much for being a guest. This was awesome.
Yeah, it was so good to be here.
Thank you for listening to the podcast this week, friend. I appreciate you being here. And hey, if you enjoyed this episode, I want to tell you about something. I would encourage you to check out my website template shop. Over on elizabethmccravey.com, you'll find Show It website templates, and they are easy to use, strategically designed, and created to help you book more clients and customers. Maybe your current website is really boring. I don't know, maybe it is, and maybe you don't want to hurt its feelings, but you know it's true. And your website needs to be strategically and intentionally designed in order for it to convert your viewers into raving customers. And that's what these website templates do on MShop. These are pre-made website templates built for the Show It platform, where you can plug and play your content into the template with ease and then get started with a website that is made to actually make you money. Isn't that what we all want, right? So go shop the templates at elizabethmccravey.com/shop. That link is also in the show notes. And don't forget that you can actually subscribe to this podcast wherever you're listening so that you never miss an episode. And I would so appreciate it if you left a rating and review for the show on Apple Podcasts, or even just share it with a friend. It's a great way to support the show and then give us your feedback. So thanks so much for listening.